What's up guys, my name is Ryan and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you guys some of my best 5 tips to get in the perfect mix, and these are recording tips, so they're going to set you up for success when recording. So guys, before I give you the tips, make sure you guys do me a special favor, hit that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Because guys, I got some great content coming up for you guys. Now, on to the tips. Here we go. So guys, these are the best 5 record tips that will change your mindset and set you up for success. So guys, I have my laptop here with everything on it, so if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm reading you guys these tips that I have, okay? So tip number 1. The kick drum and bass guitar should lock in together, so always record your bass guitar to the kick drum. Because the kick drum will push the bass note out, giving you a tighter low end in your mix. So guys, what that pretty much means is that whenever you're recording bass guitar, I'm assuming that you already recorded your drums and now you're on to your bass. So pretty much what it means is you want to record your bass so that every single note that you hit on the bass, every time you pluck that string, it should lock in with the kick drum. And the reason why you want that to happen is because the kick drum is going to push your bass note out, giving you a tighter and more powerful low end. So make sure the kick drum and bass guitar lock in together so that you're have a nice tight low end that sounds great, guys. Okay? So let's move on to the second tip. Okay guys, so here is tip number 2. When layering guitars, use different octaves on each guitar track. When recording the first guitar, record it 1 octave down. Then the next guitar track, record it 1 octave up. Then pan the 2 guitar tracks to the sides. Doing this will make your guitar sound wider and give it separation and more dynamics. So guys, let me explain to you what that actually means if you didn't really follow along with that tip. So literally what I mean is when you're layering guitars, the first guitar track that you record it an octave down. You want to record it an octave down. Okay? Now, when you record the second track, over that first track, you want to record it an octave up. Now, by using octaves, you're going to literally create a lot more separation and a lot more wideness and depth into your tracks. And then when you pan them, they just sound great. So guys, by using octaves, it is a great way to create separation in your mix. It's a great way to create dynamics. And second of all, you'll be able to hear each track a lot easier when you play them together. Okay? So that's tip number 2 for you guys. Let's move on to tip number 3. Okay? Okay guys, so here is tip number 3 for you guys. Now before I move on to tip number 3, I just want to say I'm not reading these offline or anything. These aren't tips I got online. These are actually my personal tips that I use every day in my home studio. So these are tips that I use myself. I'll even put a screenshot up on the screen for you guys of these tips so that you guys can follow along. Just to show you guys that I'm not reading these offline. These are my tips that I use all the time. So here is tip number 3. Make sure every track you record and every instrument you record sounds completely different. So make sure each guitar track sounds different that you layer. Make sure each vocal track you record sounds different that you layer. And every track should sound completely different from one another. It will make your mix sound a lot more open and sound a lot wider, and mixing it will be a lot easier because you will be able to hear each track a lot easier. So guys, I'm going to break that down for you guys. One of the reasons why a lot of people struggle with mixing too is because of the layering. is because they're not able to hear each instrument in the track, in the mix. So it makes it harder to mix because it sounds cluttered. So what you pretty much want to accomplish when you're mixing is you want every single track to sound different. So when every single track that you sounds different, it makes it a lot easier to mix because literally you're making every instrument wider. So when you get to the mixing stage, it makes it easier to mix. So make sure every instrument sounds different because then you'll be able to hear each instrument when you start the mixing process. It makes it 100% easier because you can hear everything. When you record a guitar, right? Let's say you record a guitar and you use the same exact tone on every guitar and you do the same exact thing on every guitar track that you layer. You know what's going to happen? When you play it back, what's going to happen is it's just going to sound like a complete cluttered. When you use different tones and you change it up for every track, what's going to happen is you'll be able to hear each track a lot easier, which means easier to mix. So guys, I'm literally trying to set you guys up for success in the recording stage so that when you get to the mixing stage, it's a lot easier for you guys to actually mix the song, okay? So guys, let's move on to the next tip, okay? Okay guys, so before we get to tip number 4, I actually want to read you guys some information that will help you guys out a lot too. Guys, let me tell you this. One of the reasons why people have such a trouble with mixing is because they don't know how to record the right way. If you guys can learn the tips and tricks that I'm giving you to record the right way, then trust me, it will make your life 100% easier to mix when it gets to the mixing stage. I've heard people say millions of times, oh, if I get this new plugin, it will make my mixes a lot better. People say that all the time and I hear it all the time. It's not true. Just by buying new plugins is not going to make your mixes better. And then people also say, oh, if I buy this new piece of gear, it will make my mixes better. Let me tell you something right now. Just by buying new plugins and buying new gear is not going to make your mixes better. So literally, it's all about the skills that you have and that you learn in audio engineering, okay? It all starts with a good recording. Because think about it, when you say, oh, if I buy this new plugin, it will make my mixes better. It's not true. All you're doing is throwing money down the drain. That's all you're doing. If you buy this new piece of gear, it will make my mixes better. That is not true. The thing is, you're just throwing even more money down the drain. The key is to get in a great recording because that's going to lead you to success in the mixing stage. And following these 5 tips I'm giving you will really, really help you guys, okay? To set you guys up for success when you get to the mixing stage. So these are all recording tips I'm giving you. So as I'm saying right now, make sure you write these tips down as I'm giving them to you so that you guys can actually follow these tips. And when you follow them, I promise you, you will be able to get a much better mix because you're going to be set up for success. Okay? Okay guys, so here is tip number 4 for you guys. Make sure every track you record, you're using different microphones, you're using different tones, and use different mic placements, and use different amps, and use different pickups and different guitars. So make sure on each track you're doing something different to make the tracks sound different from all the other tracks. Trust me, by making each track sound different, it will make your life a lot easier when it comes to the mixing stage. So guys, here's the thing. When you're recording every single track in your DAW, the key to actually getting that separation too is not just by making it sound different, like I said in the last tip, but is to also use different microphones on each track. Use different guitars, use different mic placements, use different amps, use different tones, because that's gonna be able to make each track sound different so that you can hear each track when it comes to the mixing stage. And it'll be a lot easier to mix. Guys, before we move on to the next tip, I just want to say the reason why people are having such a hard time with mixing, and I see it all the time, is because they don't make each track completely different. They just record it and they use the same tones, they use the same pickups, they use the same amps, they use the same everything. And every track sounds different. Or they don't use different rhythm patterns. The key to getting the best mix is to get the best recording and making every single track sound different. Because when you get to the mixing stage, you'll be able to hear each track in the whole mix. And it'll be a lot easier to mix for you guys. Okay? So let's move on to the next tip. Here we go. Okay guys, so here is tip number 5 for you guys. And the last tip, make sure you get a good recording and keep recording that track over and over again until you get it right. The best advice I've learned from over the years of being an audio engineer is if you don't have a good recording, you're not going to have a good mix. And I'll repeat that again. If you don't have a good recording, you're not going to have a good mix. And it's true. You can have all the mixing tips in the world and all the tricks, but if you don't have a good recording, none of those tricks and tips matter. Remember, it all starts with a good recording. And remember, if you don't have a good recording, you're not going to have a good mix. That is some of the best advice that I can give you guys right now. It all starts with a good recording. It really does. It all starts with a great recording and following these tips that I've given you. Because without a good recording and setting yourself up for success, you're not going to get a good mix. Because it's going to be a lot harder for you to mix the song if every single track sounds the same, if it sounds cluttered, you're not going to get a good mix. So setting yourself up for success using these tips and getting a good recording is the key to getting a good mix. It's all about preparation. It's all about taking your time, getting the right sounds, and knowing how to record it good. Okay? Literally spend the extra time and do it. Okay? Because literally follow these tips. They will help you out in your home studios and they will set you up for success. Okay? Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below, guys. I always write all to you back. So guys, if you have a question, leave it in the comments and I always write all my subscribers back when they leave a comment. Okay? Guys, I will support if you guys would hit that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel. And I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and actually liking these videos, guys. Guys, they're really supportive to me. So thank you guys so much for everything. Guys, I'm actually going to be moving to a brand new studio soon. I don't know if you guys saw the last video I posted yesterday, but if you did, I'm heading up to a new studio, so you'll probably see that in the next video, guys. Okay? So thank you guys so much for liking the video. Thank you guys for subscribing and all the support. You guys mean the world to me. Keep making great music, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys then.